Albert Einstein's story proves that greatness doesn't require a perfect beginning. When he was born, his parents worried about his oddly shaped head and slow development, even as a young child. He spoke so late that many believed he might never be able to learn properly. Instead of talking, he often repeated sentences quietly to himself until he felt ready to say them aloud. To others, it looked like failure. But then curiosity struck. At age 5, his father handed him a simple compass, the way the needle moved guided by something. Invisible ignited a lifelong fascination with science. Around the same time, he also picked up the violin, which became one of his joys throughout life. In school, Einstein's performance depended entirely on interest. If the subject excited him, he excelled. If not, his grades slipped. By the time most children were still learning basic math, Einstein had already taught himself geometry, and before turning 16, he had mastered calculus. What he could not accept, however, was the rigid, military-like discipline in classrooms. At 15, he quit school and left Germany to avoid mandatory military service. His parents feared the worst. He was a dropout with no job skills and little direction. But Einstein wasn't finished. He applied to the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology. The first time, he failed the entrance exam not in math or physics, but in other general subjects, refusing to give up. He tried again, passed, and was admitted. There, he met Mileva Merrick, who would later become his wife, even after graduating. Life wasn't easy. Professors acknowledged his brilliance, but disliked his rebellious, independent thinking, so they withheld recommendations. For years, Einstein couldn't secure a teaching position. To survive, he worked as a patent clerk, an ordinary, repetitive job. Yet this ordinary job gave him extraordinary freedom, long hours to think, study, and explore his theories. It was in this quiet setting that he developed ideas that would change science forever: the special theory of relativity and the famous equation E equals mc. Recognition didn't come immediately. He was nominated for the Nobel Prize many times before finally winning it, more than a decade later. But eventually, Einstein became the most influential physicist of the 20th century, writing hundreds of papers and shaping how we understand the universe. Einstein often reminded people, "Greater than I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious." His story shows that success isn't about starting perfectly, it's about persistence, curiosity, and courage to question the world. Mistakes aren't setbacks, they're stepping stones. You don't have to be the next Einstein. You only need to be the best version of yourself. Be curious, be fearless, be willing to fail and try again. The world doesn't need another Einstein, it needs you. So ask yourself, what will your story be?